bit of a fuss about Cecilia's corset being eggshell instead of ivory, but I resolved that issue by encouraging her to take a Xanax from Gigi. Then there was a slight palaver with the doves. They were supposed to be released over Cecilia and Gareth for the photographs, but I discovered just before the ceremony that their handler, that is to say the doves' handler, not Cece and Gareth's, I was their handler, to be frank, hadn't fed them for 2 days, so they wouldn't shit all over the guests. But really, when one wishes to work with the wonders of the animal kingdom, one must respect their ways and resign oneself to the odd sprinkle of shit. One certainly must not starve the poor creatures to avoid said sprinkle of shit. Any sensible person knows this. So I may have lost my temper and released them all. The doves, I mean. Clearly they were born to be free, hence the wings, etc. Unfortunately, the handler demanded I pay for them, which I suppose was fair enough. It turns out doves are very expensive, so I have had to request an advance on my monthly payment from the trust fund. Hopefully, Mother won't notice. Anyway, darling, here is my point. Cecilia and I have sadly fallen out. It seems she was very attached to the idea of the aforementioned doves, and perhaps her tongue had been loosened by the Xanax, but she called me a selfish, jealous cow. So I called her an ungrateful waste of space and ripped the train off her Vera Wang. By accident, obviously. I did fix it, after a fashion, in time for the actual ceremony, so I don't entirely see the issue. But knowing the lovely Cecilia as I do, I'm sure she'll spend her Fiji honeymoon bad-mouthing my services on various Bridezilla forums in order to destroy my dream career. Obviously, the joke is on her, because I have no dream career and I have already erased Eve Antonia weddings from the face of the earth, and Chloe says I lack efficiency. Huh. Eve finished her entry and closed the journal with a satisfied smile, or else a smile that should be satisfied, but instead felt a little bit sad and slightly nauseous. She'd known Cecilia since their school days, had always felt somewhat nervous around her, the way Eve often did around, well, humanity in general, as if she were walking a cliff's edge between being the easy, entertaining friend people kept around and the irritating mess people kicked off the ledge. Now she'd leapt off that ledge with Cecilia, and it turned her stomach to a gently writhing pit. Clearly, Eve was in a mood. Perhaps she should go back to sleep, or binge-read a romance novel, or... No moping. Mood or not, she had responsibilities to fulfill. Someone needed to feed Gigi's exotic fish, even if Gigi rarely forgot to do so these days and the fish were getting quite fat now. Someone needed to. Eve was sure she did other useful things too, but none were coming to mind. Shrugging off her funk, she chose her song for the day, Don't Rain on My Parade, to cheer her up. Hit repeat and popped in one of her AirPods. Soundtrack established, she got up, got dressed, and headed down to the family home's vast marble and chrome kitchen, where she found both her parents in grim residence. Oh dear, Eve murmured, and stopped short in the doorway. Mum was pacing broodily by the toaster. Her pale blue suit made her amber skin glow and really highlighted the fiery rage in her hazel eyes. Dad stood stoic and grave by the Swiss coffee machine, sunlight beaming through the French windows to bathe his bold brown head. "Good morning, Evie Bean," he said. Then his solemn expression wavered, a hint of his usual smile coming through. "That's a nice t-shirt." Eve looked down at her t-shirt, which was a lovely orange color, with the words, "Sorry, bored now," written across her chest in turquoise. "Thanks, Dad." "I swear, I've no idea where you find..." Mum rolled her eyes, threw up her hands, and snapped, "For God's sake, Martin." "Oh, yes." Dad cleared his throat and tried again. "Eve," he said sternly, "your mother and I would like a word." Wonderful. They were in a mood, too. Since Eve was trying her best to be cheerful, this was not particularly ideal. She sighed and entered the kitchen, her steps falling in time with the beat of Barbara's bold staccato. Gigi and Shivani were at the marble breakfast bar across the room. Shivani was eating what appeared to be a spinach omelette, while Gigi stole the occasional bite in between dainty sips of her usual Bloody Mary smoothie. Unwilling to be contaminated